Here is the recap of American Horror Story Double Feature. This season is divided into two parts that are unrelated to each other, so I have also divided them into two parts in my recap as well. Screenwriter Harry, with his pregnant wife Doris and daughter Alma, comes to the small town of Provincetown. Here the family plans to spend a few months so that Harry can finish writing the script for the movie. One day Doris and her daughter go out for a walk where they accidentally bump into a suspicious man in a coat. The pale-skinned stranger follows them, so they hurriedly return home. The frightened family turns to the sheriff for help, but the police assure them that the stalker is probably an ordinary drug addict, which recently became a lot in this town. To relieve the tension and have a little fun, the couple decide to have dinner at a restaurant, but before leaving Doris becomes ill, and Harry leaves alone. Here he meets Belle and Austin, both well-known personalities in the creative world. He admires their talent, so he is greatly surprised when such famous people offer him a seat at their table. Upon returning home, Harry is attacked by the same pale man who has been stalking his wife and daughter. The stranger tries to bite his neck, but Harry manages to defend himself. He ends up killing his attacker. The sheriff arrives and asks the family not to worry about the consequences because it was probably self-defense, and the criminal was a drug addict and a thief. So, in fact, nothing terrible happened, except that the main characters themselves do not think so. This incident becomes a reason to leave, so the family is packing. At this time, Austin calls Harry and offers to meet. Unable to refuse a famous person, the writer goes to visit. After a short monologue, Austin declares that he knows how Harry can overcome the creative crisis. He holds out black pills to the writer, assuring that after them he will have a second breath. The man thinks that the capsules contain some ordinary illegal substances, so at first he refuses to take them, but in the end he still takes the bag with him. At home, Harry tries to squeeze out at least a couple of lines, but nothing comes out. At this time, his agent Ursula calls him and reminds Harry that this script is very important for his career. Otherwise, he could lose his job. Under the pressure of circumstances, he does take the black pill, and it is seen by his daughter. Soon, the family gets into the car and is about to leave as suddenly inspiration comes to Harry. He grabs his laptop and goes back into the house to write a masterpiece. A few hours later, the work was already ready. But the man does not stop there. He continues to create, forgetting about food, sleep, and loved ones. Doris finds this strange, and Alma adds credence to her suspicion. She tells her that she saw her father take some kind of pill. Harry himself is delighted with the effect. Only gradually he begins to notice certain side effects in the form of an irresistible thirst for blood. First, the man goes to the store, where he practically pounces on steaks with blood. He brings them home and juices every piece of meat and then drinks them. In his search for answers, Harry meets with Austin and learns that bloodlust is the price of greatness. If the pill is taken by a person with no talent, he ends up turning into one of the pale zombies hanging around the streets of the city. Doris notices her husband's strange behavior. She is now sure that he has really taken something. After all, when she hurt her finger, Harry lashed out at her. Meanwhile, Alma, who has been struggling for weeks to master a difficult violin part, notices her father's changes and decides to take the same pill as him. Then her skills improve markedly, and the girl begins to feel her superiority over her mother, who is apparently a rather mediocre interior designer. A little time passes and Alma also begins to feel bloodlust, so she finds a dead rabbit and drinks it in front of her terrified mother. Doris is sure that this place is bad for their family, so she asks her husband to leave the place as soon as possible. However, Harry has not yet finished his next creation, so the family stays temporarily. Also, Harry realizes that Alma has taken a pill and decides to help her. Not forbidden to drink the medicine, the man supplies her with blood, killing people along with Belle and Austin. A little time passes and Ursula informs Harry that his scripts are brilliant, so Netflix and other big companies already want to work with him. As her client's success grows, Ursula decides to come to the town to see how Harry managed to make such a step forward from a mediocre writer. Upon arrival, Ursula goes to a restaurant where she is found by local drug addict Mickey. He too has recently taken a pill against the advice of his friend Karen and has written a piece. Upon learning that Ursula is an agent, he immediately offers her a chance to read his creation. If at first the woman was skeptical of his ideas, then after reading it she realized that there was something in it. The only thing that confused her was the presence of talent in a man like Mickey. With a little pressure, she learns about the pills and the chemist who produces them. Realizing that these pills can create great creative people that she as an agent can get rich from, Ursula tries to make a deal with the chemist. But the woman does not want to cooperate with the stranger. The chemist herself came to town 5 years ago. Previously, she worked on a project to create the perfect soldiers, but then decided to go free sailing and discover a formula that can enhance the talents of gifted people. That's when she met Mickey, offering him the chance to become great. Except that the drug addict then did not need fame, but only money, so for a certain fee he brought to her all comers. That's how Belle and Austin became one of the first. Meanwhile, Doris gives birth to a son and soon returns home. The woman realizes that they are still in the city and asks her husband to leave the place as soon as possible. Harry assures his wife that they will talk about it in a couple of weeks, when her body has recovered from childbirth. At night, Doris sees Alma drinking the blood of her newborn son. And in the morning, everyone pretends that she had a nightmare and nothing like that happened. Alma doesn't understand why she and her father need Doris, since she is a mediocre woman with no obvious talents and they are great. Despite the fact that Harry agrees with her, he asks his daughter to stop thinking like that. But the girl doesn't stop. Alma convinces her mother that she is special, and Doris ends up taking the pill. Except that the miracle doesn't happen to her like it did to Harry and Alma. She becomes one of the pale zombies. Harry realizes that his daughter did it, but there's nothing he can do about it now. He ends up releasing her outside to the rest of the zombies. Meanwhile, Karen wants to protect Harry's baby because Belle is going to eat him. She asks Mickey for help in kidnapping the baby. However, the situation spirals out of control when the pale ones show up. Mickey asks her friend to take a pill and become like him, as she definitely has talent as an artist, and zombies don't bite them. Karen, on the other hand, is determined to keep her soul and is unwilling to glorify her ego at the cost of other people's lives. However, when the pale ones surround her, Karen does take a pill and they retreat. Soon, along with a friend, they head to the shore for her to paint a masterpiece. Except Karen wants to purify both herself and Mickey, so she kills him and then herself. Soon the corpse of the sheriff whom Alma killed surfaces. An investigation begins. Chemist doesn't like this kind of interest in the town, so conspiring with Ursula, she comes up with a plan. Belle steals Harry's baby, forcing the entire family to come rescue him. And when the plan works, Ursula convinces the pale ones to attack their own kind. Then, when they kill Belle and Austin, she shoots the zombies as well. Everything seemed to end well, but at the last moment Alma kills her father, as he wanted to stop taking the pills. Now the girl, along with the chemist and Ursula, is enjoying her greatness. The trio distributes the pills en masse, provoking worldwide chaos and bloodshed. This is the end of part 1. In 1954, President Eisenhower is sent to the desert where an unusual airplane has gone down. After inspecting the craft, they discover a woman named Amelia. The last thing she remembers is the plane's controls malfunctioning and someone unknown implanting something in her. The story is strange as it is, but Eisenhower is also frightened by the fact that this woman has been missing for 20 years, which means that she should have aged long ago, but she is still as young as ever. After some time, the alien comes into contact with the president and puts forward conditions. In exchange for modern technologies of the future, he will have to sign a treaty with the aliens, according to which he allows them to conduct experiments on Americans. The president does not want to agree, because it could be the beginning of the end. His wife Mamie thinks otherwise. She believes that it will be a step forward, allowing them to overtake the Soviet Union in the development of technology and society. Realizing that her husband does not share her point of view, the woman decides to talk to the vice president, which Eisenhower soon learns about. He asks his wife to explain why she is leaking classified information, calling for a questionable agreement. And then it turns out that an alien is sitting inside Mamie. Now, in order for the woman to survive, the president has to agree to the alien's terms. In the present day, 4 friends decide to go on vacation with tents. But at some point they realize that the lake they were looking for has disappeared, and instead a field with dozens of cows cut in half is in front of them. Troy, Cal, Kendall, and Jamie leave the desert in a hurry. But soon the car stops, and an unknown object lights up on it. After a moment, the auto does start, but the guys notice that Jamie has disappeared, and it soon turns out that she was outside. Eventually, the friends get her into the car and return home. The next day, everyone has the same symptoms: nausea, malaise, and more. It turns out that all 4 are pregnant. Realizing that this is impossible, the main characters go to the ultrasound. But what the gynecologist sees leads her to horror. The woman tries to contact a colleague, and at this time people in black suits appear, kill her, and the pregnant four are taken to a special place. In 1954, Eisenhower is forced to deal with the consequences of his decision. Cases of missing people, among them children, are recorded all over America. Soon the aliens send a messenger, Thor, who presents people with a pocket computer. Sometime later, Eisenhower discovers a bunker under the White House with hybrid babies. It turns out the aliens are trying to save their species from extinction in this way. Eisenhower decides to redirect their experiments elsewhere to Area 51. A couple of years pass, and the presidency is taken over by Johnson, whom Eisenhower also initiates into the agreement with the aliens. The story is brought back to the present day. Once in Area 51, Troy, Cal, Kendall, and Jamie meet Calico, who tells her story and the history of this place. It turns out that no one here ages a day, and every year gives birth to 2 or 3 hybrids to the aliens. The same fate is destined for the main characters. Troy starts to panic and is taken to a room like an operating room. He doesn't understand how, as a man, he can even give birth. However, the adult hybrid Titha helps him through his mission. She cuts open his belly and pulls out a baby. But by some criteria, he is not a match for them, so the baby is killed. Troy returns to his friends and decides to protect Cal's unborn child at all costs. He takes the guy to a safe place and cuts his belly open. Another hybrid is born, but it is different from humans, so it immediately kills both Cal and Troy. In the 70s, Eisenhower on his deathbed refuses Thor's offer of immortality, after which he dies. Mamie, on the contrary, does not want a similar fate and agrees to a gift from aliens. Having faked her own death, she arrives in Zone 51, where no one ages or dies of natural causes. Here she meets Calico, who becomes her only friend in this place. In the present day, an unauthorized murder becomes known. The guards search the area for intruders and soon find the hybrid. Titha learns that the hybrid was murdered and gives orders to shoot those responsible. Jamie and Kendall try to find their missing friends and find them dead. They are then injected with some kind of medicine and transferred to an operating room. Jamie gives birth to an imperfect hybrid who is also killed, as well as Troy's baby, and then her throat is slit as well. Soon it is Kendall's turn. She manages to give birth to the perfect creature, just the kind the aliens have been trying to breed for decades. The girl's head is cut off and in its place a metal sphere is inserted, keeping life alive in this decapitated body for cloning hybrids. Thor informs Mamie that the aliens' real plan was not only to find the perfect hybrid, but to take over a new world. Now that the perfect creature can be cloned, they will kill all humans. Mamie conspires with Calico and goes to Theta to kill the hybrid and his so-called mother, but at the last minute her friend betrays her. Theta kills Mamie and Calico becomes the spiritual mother of the perfect newborns. This is the end of Season 10. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the like button. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.